Let's talk about earwax and the best way to unclog your ears. Now, of course, you want to use common sense when you're cleaning your ears. If you look on the back of the label of a Q-tip, it says, warning, do not insert this in your ear. And of course, they have to tell people that because sometimes people will take a Q-tip and just jam it into the ear and push all the wax so it clogs the inner ear and potentially punctures the eardrum. So of course they have to put a warning on that. But that little hole inside your ear is only about 1 inch in width. Okay, so it's probably about, I don't know, that much. So you can imagine if you're going to stick something in there, you don't want to go too far. And so if you're going to clean your ears, go gentle, go superficial, and use a circular motion so you're not pushing wax internally. And there's all sorts of cleaning tools you can use. They have ear spoons and ear scrapers, and they have even electric devices that tend to pull things out of your ear. And that's all really great. But the most important thing you have to realize is that you never want to over clean your ears, especially on a daily basis where you're scrubbing and cleaning your ears. And the reason for that is based on really what earwax is and how it can help you. Now, earwax is not just wax. Earwax is composed of keratin protein, dead skin cells, long chain fatty acids, cholesterol. The pH of earwax is slightly acidic, and most importantly, it contains a massive amount of microbes. The number is roughly 10 to the 7th power. So that's like 10 million microbes. So those microbes are there as an immune defense mechanism. In other words, there's a purpose for earwax. It's to prevent insects from going inside your ear. It's to prevent microbes from invading the inner ear. It is one primary barrier for your immune system to protect against pathogens. These microbes are called commensal microbes. Well, what does that mean? Well, there's different types of commensal relationships. So you have one organism that benefits from the other without doing harm. And then you also have mutual benefits. And in this case, it's a mutual benefit. We provide a home for the microbes, and they help us protect against pathogens. I mean, the same thing happens within your nose. You have friendly bacteria in your nose. You have friendly bacteria in your mouth. So if you don't understand that, you might have a tendency to over-sterilize or clean too much and create problems. The same thing happens with your skin. If you over-clean your skin, then you develop acne because you don't have the friendly bacteria to protect you, and then everything becomes red and swollen. Now, when people take medications for ear infections, what that does is it can increase the risk of getting another infection. Why? Because you wipe out all the bacteria, and then you might have an overgrowth of fungus. So this is why many times they'll give you an antifungal and an antibacterial. Well, the problem with that is you start developing resistance. And so now these microbes thrive, and they're very difficult to kill. So you have to be careful about wiping out this immune protection. So there's a couple of things I want to mention. One is that if you have an overproduction of this wax, which is very similar to sebum in your skin, it's actually produced by an oil gland as an overproduction of this earwax that's produced inside your ear. Both of them occur from the same mechanism. It's an increase in androgens, and that can come from many times a spike in insulin. So your diet has a huge influence on how much earwax you produce. And so if you want to know the best diet to help you regulate your androgens, I put a link down below in the description. Now, on the other side, let's say you want to clean your ears and you want to soften this wax. There's a couple things you can do. You can put a drop of hydrogen peroxide, about 3%, with a drop of olive oil. Why would you use olive oil? Because this so-called wax, which is not really wax, is like a cholesterol fatty acid mixture. So you want to add a fat to help break it up and dissolve it. So if you put a drop of hydrogen peroxide with extra virgin olive oil into one ear, and you just lay down on one side with your ear upward, and so it can kind of seep down in there, and wait for about 3 to 5 minutes, then you'd want to sit back up, wait for a period of time. So it'll probably start draining out. So you get a little cotton ball to catch it, and then you gently scrape and clean. Now, of course, if you have impacted wax where it's affecting your hearing, then go to the doctor and get that checked out. Or let's say, for example, you have itching or you have some type of ear infection. There are some natural things that you might want to consider. And that would be, number one, my favorite remedy, colloidal silver. Put a couple drops in the ear. It can act as a natural antimicrobial, okay? Not just against bacteria, but funguses, yeast, and even viruses. Grapefruit seed extract is another really good remedy. And then my last favorite would be oregano oil. And you can use any one of these. I think using all three would be an overkill, but any one of them would work just fine. You just put a couple drops in the ear, and it's cool because it acts as an antimicrobial without the side effects that some of these medications would give you. And now another question I had in the past was, what about those ear candles? Does that pull wax out? Well, at one time I believed it did. Okay. And I used to try them long ago in my 20s. I would lay down, have this candle burning out of my ear, and you would be laying there with like flames coming out of the candle as it burnt down. And then when it burned down right through in here, hopefully you didn't let it burn into the ear. You would pull it out and you would see a bunch of earwax on the inside of this candle. Well, that's actually not earwax. Okay. The earwax doesn't travel against gravity up into this little tube. It's really the wax that's within the candle itself. That's what you're seeing. So anyway, I wanted to talk about the importance of the microbes, the microbiome that's living on the surface of your skin, and not to automatically just sterilize it and kill it off, but to clean your ears periodically is a good thing, but not so often. Now, the best video that you should watch next would be the one on controlling sebum, and that information is in my video on acne. So check that one out. I put it right here.